Do you remember what we were going to start off talking about when we first sat down?
Well, some of the things that we talked about John Krasinski as Reed Richard. We talked about Battlestar Galactica,
and we'll see where it goes.
By the way, we're already recording. We're doing that.
When did you start this?
That's what I do to you.
Holy shit!
By the way, all the ugly things Richard said,
they're all
pay
true.
attention to.
Sorry.
Wait,
I didn't get that on there.
There is no
the ugly things you said about JJ. She'll never hear them.
Are you really recording right now?
There was no
but
business
you had not said anything up to that point.
Good.
There was no business conversation.
I found a good point. And it's not like Richard's the biggest bitch being ugly about everybody. I'm teasing him more than anything.
because he's like, what, 5'6"?
I'm being uppity.
5'4"?
Hey, fuck off. Oh my God!
How
you just
tall
threw
are
out
you?
an uppity, and fuck you for doing short just because neither one Richard are
you said he
super
was
tall.
you
Wait,
said
Sean,
he
how tall
wasn't-
are you? Sean, how tall are you?
6 foot.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Stand up for me. No.
You want to measure yourself?
No, I won't.
No, I don't. Richard and I are not tall men, but who gives a shit?
I am 5'6".
Enough. You're taller than
It's
JJ.
close enough.
I had one nurse time measure me as 5'7". I've always said about 5'6" and almost a half, but she gave me 5'7". I said, "Fine, you give it to me. I'm sticking with 5'7".
Are you big spoon or little spoon with Chris?
Wow, that's
Well, your assumption is we spoon.
Oh, I just didn't know.
It's a back and forth.
Okay,
I mean, it's about
you trade off?
50-50.
I
I
didn't
mean,
know.
yeah.
Because Chris
It's
is
like
taller
who's
than
the
you.
top and who's the bottom.
I was thinking, I've been married for 25 years. I don't know if anybody's spooning anymore.
Well, here's the question, though. Now, you guys are, like, heterosexual.
Like,
Wait, am
or
I?
Are we?
Do you always
similar
do you and your wife always spoon? Like, do you spoon your wife always because that's how it works? Does she ever spoon you?
No.
Yes, she does.
She does.
JJ doesn't spoon
She
me.
will just hold you.
If I get into bed, because I am a night owl, and I usually, even at 53, I will come to bed far later than I should.
What was that?
And she will...
High five.
She will when she is awake enough to know that I've come in, she'll scoot over and put her arm around me.
Yeah.
Because I do sleep on my stomach or on my back, and she'll come to me and
You
hold
sleep on
me.
your stomach?
I do a lot.
Oh, I can't do that because I feel like I'm going to smother myself.
Well, even now that I've had that shoulder surgery, one of the things that sucks with it is if I do this and then I wake up, the arm almost feels stiff. So I don't do it as much anymore. But I'm trying to illuminate the fact that you roll that way, and it's easy for Shelly to move in and do
JJ
that.
is
as long as there's not a dog in the way.
JJ is not a spooner. She's a lay on my chest or get the fuck away from me. She's on my chest. She doesn't want to spoon. Be a little spoon. She does. That's it.
Well, I'll be honest.
And she's also an aggressive sleeper, like throwing blankets off or pulling blankets back on or kicking stuff off.
I'll be honest. I burn hot, so I'm like, all the blankets are off me. Fuck off! Don't touch me. Like I'm very much don't be around me. That said, in terms of spooning, we're probably like half and half. Like there are times it'll hold him, there are times it'll hold me. But it's just kind of
how do you do that with the dogs in the bed, though? You got like 7, 10, 12
we don't have
dogs
7 dogs. We have
only 6.
And then
we have 4
and
dogs.
then one cat.
The dogs get down. So when we go to bed, the dogs will get up.
Get down.
Get down. Get down.
Get down.
She's a brick house.
Well, now we're mixing all those songs
mixing
You
together.
can ring my bell. Well, that was bad. That was terrible. So anyway,
Oh, we're done with Disco Moment?
we can keep going.
On Comedy Bang Bang with Scott Aukerman, when he gets Ben Schwartz on there, they'll get into a loop where they just sing songs and then get off into another song and another. And do that for 5 minutes, so just keep going.
The next time we're at my house, can we please start that game with Shelly so you can hear how quickly her lyrics are absolutely wrong?
All right, yeah.
Everything Shelly sings is wrong.
Tempted by the fruit of your mother.
Oh, the worst one is that one day we're in the car and she swears she doesn't know the band ELO, and I'm like, you grew up in the 70s, you know ELO.
A little bit, something, somewhere.
Well, finally, the song, if I sing this to you, Evil Woman, bum. You know that song, right?
Yeah.
Shelly's going over there, Medieval Woman.
I knew she was going to say that. I knew she was going to say that.
I looked at her, and I'm driving the car. I'm like, what the fuck did you say?
Well,
She went,
she's from the
Medieval
Medieval
Woman.
Woman.
It says medieval. And I said, do you fucking think it's Joan of Arc that he's fucking singing about? What are you talking about? It is Evil Woman. It is not. And we had this fight. Now, she loves to then kick me in the balls because I'm a huge fan of the Police. And, you know, growing up in that era, when I heard, first time I heard Every Breath You Take, and I said this to her, I said, when I heard the lyric, and my poor heart aches. I at first I thought, why do you say my pull hall breaks? But then I went, oh, okay, no, it's poor heart aches. She won't let it go. Yeah, well, you still think it's pull hall. That woman will fuck over a lyric. If it's in front of her and it's written out, she'll still fuck it up.
Smoke on the water. I always thought it was slow coming over because they were in a boat coming over really slow.
That doesn't sound anything like that, Sean.
I know.
It took me a minute. I was like, what's he singing? That was odd. So we recently bought a turntable.
And 2 microphones.
And we've kind of gotten into buying albums. And it's kind of fascinating to listen to music now from a standpoint of we don't want to get this because it is singles versus pieces that are actual albums. Right, so we bought Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band because it's an album. Like you listen to start to finish. We bought Night at the Races by Queen because it's an album.
Right.
It's a whole experience.
Right. We don't buy albums that actually have that are just single
driven.
Driven,
track or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but now so that's an interesting thing you talk about music now, that there's so many current artists that are just pushing singles
because streaming has gotten to the point where that's all we do is singles.
And they almost release EPs. They release EPs instead of albums.
An album
now
used to be curated, basically.
Right.
They wanted you to listen to it in this particular way because of either how the record drop happens. You drop it down and it goes this way. Real quick, and you might know the answer. Don't say it. Do you know how many grooves are on a record? We'll just say a 33.
How many?
One.
It's a non-ending groove.
One non-ending groove.
I don't know. James Brown's got 2 or 3.
Except for Monty Python did one where they put 2 grooves on the record. So depending on where you drop the needle, you would hear something different.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So instead of having 1 groove,
Abby has a turntable also. She came to me, I guess that's about 2 years ago, and said, "Hey, did you buy?" And they, the kids don't call them records. When I grew up, they were records.
LPs,
EPs. Did you buy vinyl? Yeah, I did buy vinyl.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested. Could we get into it? So I take her around. We buy them. We look for them. It's a lot of fun because me being such a music person, she enjoying it. What I find interesting about it is that these kids that are in this era of one song out of a person, almost to your point. Now, I'll find her, like the other day, she wanted Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. And I thought, all right, well, there's a classic 70s album. Yeah. And she literally will put it on, and I'll go in and find her laying on the ground in her room, almost like we did it. Something about this is tripping her back to what we did before, laying on the ground and just listening.
It's an experience to listen to the entire album.
Did she do it with the headphones or through the speakers?
Through the speakers. I got her decent speakers to the point where, and I will say this, for anybody out there that's not gotten into it, and if you're into music, if you listen to the compression that goes along with things like Spotify, and they're truly taking out the sonic range of it, and you go lay on the ground and listen to Night at the Races, because she has that, totally different experience. The richness of the audio quality, holy shit, it is just amazing.
What?
Boy, I killed that conversation when I got into the
nerdy shit. I'm trying to figure out where to go from there.
Think of it this way. What is it about? It seems like a specific technology, vinyl in specific, not cassettes, not 8-tracks, not wax cylinders. Why does that one seem to be like a honing that people want to go back to, that we're not going to cassettes, that we're not going to VHS? Oh, wow, I want to watch VHS again. No, we're not doing it. We're not going back to, hey, let's listen to AM radio again.
Because of the lack of compression, the full sound that you get when you listen to something.
But you're telling me vinyl does better than ones and zeros? How?
Well, one of the reasons that you're going to compress what you do is because of file downloads, and you're going to try and get smaller files. And you're going to
can you not make the file, if there's no compression in it, if you want to make the file as big as you want to be, can you not make digital just as good as vinyl?
Yes and no. Yes, you can make it better, but again, you have to think about what places. I'm going to use Spotify. Spotify's trying to kick across as many files to you as they can so that you can download them easily and listen to them. Therefore, you're going to compress, you're going to do all these things, and your sonic range goes. So, an album, you don't have to do that. And, and also the different sizings of grooves. Abby got a record that she came in, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things is in that band, Calpurnia. She gets it, and she's like, Daddy, this album's it's messed up. Something's wrong. It's like, what? I put it on, it just goes, wah, wah, wah. And I was like, I went up there and it doesn't say anything about speeds. Sure enough, it was meant to be played at...
Oh, it's like a 45 or something like
and
that?
so different grooves and different speeds will give different sonic qualities. So, yes, you can do those things, but Infinitely albums are just... As it is right now, you're going to get a better sonic quality out of it because...
But aren't you also limited by, dust on the needle, the diamond on stuff like that? But when you have a digital, it's perfectly every time.
But that's like saying you're limited by the headphones you listen to with your digital media. Are you listening to your stereo in your car radio? Are you listening to your iPad? Are you using headphones? Using the difference between the simplicity of saying how you're listening makes a difference. Yes, if you're going to buy
I'm not talking about how you're listening. I'm talking the medium that it's delivered in. I cannot believe that vinyl can give you better than digital. If you're not,
it's so full. It's so much richer.
If you're not
so
limited
bigger
by the amount of space that you need for digital, I can't believe
it's
that.
so much bigger. It's so much fuller.
Give you more.
I literally went in the first time. So Abbey is named after Abbey Road by the Beatles. That is flat out there. That is one of my favorite albums of all time. Shelley did that as a nod to me. He said, "Oh, well, what'd you think? I'd love it." So a friend of mine knows that and sends me. Now there is lossless, like no compression digital file.
Yeah.
It is humongous, and you can't really, and I may be speaking out of turn, a lot of this compression and where it came from initially was what could fit on a CD because of the limit of the file size that has to append them on there. And so you had to compress it down to get it there. He sent me this one that this guy did, but it's the thing where they're getting it from is off an original LP. Mm-hmm. They record off that, then they do that. And when you listen to it without the compression, the richness of the bass, or for me as a trained drummer, when a drum hits, a drum really should have a strike, and you hear a home. You hear the tonality
in the air,
and I had not heard the tonality of those drums in years. And when he sent it to me, I told my wife, I said, I almost cried. Well, they recently re-released it with greatly reduced compression, and it's like night and day. Now, yes, you get a better quality off a record, but what your question originally was is why aren't we going back to things like VHS, etc.? Well, at least with an LP, we're starting with a good source. VHS is a shitty source where it's pan and scanned and it's less lines of resolution, so you're not going to go back to it.
Maybe the question is not translating from LP to digital, but if your source is the source and then you record to LP and then you record to digital, there's no way that LP is a better recording than digital can ever be.
Actually, the analog is a better recording than digital. Because there's your digital is taking and assimilating and saying it's no different than whenever you do a digital. It's why Steven Spielberg says I'll never shoot on high def. I'll always shoot on film because high def is still going to take ones and zeros and assimilate and say this white is the same. We're going to come put it together and it's going to reference the same. That's where compression comes in, is that it's taking similar references. You don't have the same color spectrum. You don't have the same resolution. And that's why they still talk about that. There are still films that, why do we keep trying to transfer Star Wars up to 4K? And now they're talking about they need 8K transfers because the film has more information on it.
I think it's because the film's shitty and it can make it better. That's why.
I think you just want to be on the opposite side.
Sorry,
of the
Richard, we left you out of this conversation.
I know. I told we
got deep in the woods.
I like vinyl.
I'm glad
I grew up on vinyl.
So Huey Lewis can't hear anymore.
I'm glad to know you're on the vinyl thing because I'm almost to the point of buying my own turntable so I can go listen in my room.
So I don't know if you know this, but there was a very brief period of time when I was like 20, 21, 22.
When I was 22.
For like 3 years or something like that?
Yeah, like a very small period of time.
No one appreciated that I sang some Frank Sinatra.
He was very good. I
always think about the very good year.
Or actually DJ'd.
Oh, that's right. I think you've told me that before.
I did it for parties mostly. I did it for parties mostly, and I had vinyl. And I would mix with vinyl.
Right. Did you scratch?
Not really was my forte.
Okay.
He did more mixing than scratch.
That's cool.
But it's interesting to kind of look back at that moment and recognize that I kind of got a little bit later, like 25 and 26 and 27, when vinyl was no longer relevant, and I gave away all my
those
vinyl.
Albums?
Oh, you absolute dumbass.
I'm so mad at myself. Well, I waited like 10 years and I gave them away, and I'm like so mad now that I'm coming back to those moments. I'm like,
Oh, I could.
Why did I give away all that really good
how many
shit?
how many times do we look at that with technology where we just think, I don't
It's
have
no
any
longer
VHS
relevant
Precious
anymore.
about it. Yeah.
CD is not relevant because